Hello and welcome back to another breaking news update. My name is Jimmy Boyd and you are watching Boyd News. I want to thank you so much for tuning in today. I have some breaking news coming out here for you. We're going to be talking about the Prime Minister of Poland. His name is Donald Tusk, and he's coming out and warning the citizens of Poland that Europe is in a pre-war era. Okay, and he said a new era is beginning, the pre-war era. And he also said, I know it sounds overwhelming, especially for the younger generation, but we need to get used to the fact that a new era in Europe has begun, the pre war era. And he went on to say, I don't want to scare anyone, but war is no longer a concept from the past. Every day it becomes clear the war is real, and it started more than 2 years ago. So, what he's referring to is what I put on the screen there. I put Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk has warned that literally any scenario is possible and that Europe entered the pre war era when Russia invaded Ukraine. That's why he's saying that it started 2 years ago. So, obviously, this has created some destabilization in the eastern part of Europe, right, with Ukraine. And we have a lot of word right now that Ukraine is having to backpedal here. They've been having to do this for quite some time now, over the last month or so, due to a lack of aid coming into the country. And there's a 60 billion aid package held up in US Congress right now that it may get passed here in the next week or two, but there's no guarantee. And we have word that Ukraine is more likely going to have to start falling back here even more very soon if they don't get the help that they need. So there's lots of warnings here coming out, and I know this may sound like fear mongering or whatever you want to call it, but these warnings have been coming out for quite some time. And if you look at the landscape of what's going on over here in Eastern Europe, it's really not looking good for Ukraine, and they may start having to fall back here quite a bit. And there's been many warnings as well coming out from like the French president Emmanuel Macron that if Ukraine starts to lose this war, that they would step in and assist them on the ground with boots on the ground. That means NATO troops on the ground in Ukraine, and this would definitely escalate the war. So also, I want you to understand too that Poland suspended a treaty just yesterday on conventional armed forces in Europe. It's called the CFE treaty, and it basically will remove limits on the amount of soldiers that they're allowed to maintain, and also where they can be stationed. So this is big news too. So Poland is definitely preparing for war right now. Whether people think that this is a joke or not, or whether they're just fear mongering, they are actively preparing for war right now. Okay, they removed this treaty, which is huge news that shows that Poland is ready to go to war against Russia if need be. So I want to show you this. This is on your active. Polish Prime Minister Tusk warns Europe has entered a pre-war era. And it goes on to say here, Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk has warned of the real threat of conflict in Europe, saying that for the first time since the end of World War II, the continent has entered a pre-war era. War is no longer a concept from the past, it is real, and it started over 2 years ago. The most worrying thing at the moment is that literally any scenario is possible. We haven't seen a situation like this since 1945, Tusk said in an interview with the European media group Lena on Friday, 29th of March. I know it sounds devastating, especially for the younger generation, but we have to get used to the fact that a new era has begun, the pre-war era. I'm not exaggerating. It's becoming clearer every day. So see, he's not messing around here. He's very serious. He says right here, I'm not exaggerating, that this is a very real threat. And I do agree that it's a real threat because only because the US and Western allies are very serious about protecting Ukraine. They've said many times that if Ukraine falls, they'll be next. So they're clearly worried about this, whether Russia would actually attack a NATO member or some other country in Western Europe or Eastern Europe, excuse me. They are concerned that this could lead to a broader war. So Russia's invasion of Ukraine more than 2 years ago upended European leaders' sense of unshakable post-war peace, prompting many countries to gear up weapons production to supply both Kiev and their own militaries. Former European Council President Tusk, whose country has been one of the staunchest supporters of neighboring Ukraine, said Friday that if Kiev lost, no one in Europe would feel safe. So just like I'm talking about there, that if Ukraine were to lose this war, this creates a buffer zone to keep Russia back away from NATO nations, which is not completely true because technically Finland And then also there's Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, those Baltic countries that are right on the border of Russia and Belarus. And then we've got Poland as well, right on the border of Belarus. So not completely, but they feel safer having Ukraine there as that buffer zone. Also, front of mind for the continent is potential return of former U.S. President Donald Trump, whose openly NATO skeptic posture has raised questions over the reliability of American military assistance should he be reelected in November. Our job is to nurture transatlantic relations, regardless of who the U.S. president is, Tusk said in the interview. French President Emmanuel Macron has stepped forward to send the message that European allies would stand in support of Ukraine no matter who will win the U.S. election. But he sparked controversy when he declared on February 26 that nothing had been ruled out regarding sending troops to Ukraine. So, just like I mentioned, I've reported on this multiple times. French President Emmanuel Macron coming out and saying that they would send boots to on the ground in Ukraine if need be. So he began by assuring the French that France would never take the initiative in any offensive in Ukraine, but he accepts the possibility. So he's saying that it is possible that France would actually do that, would actually take an offensive into Ukraine and engage with Russia. We are not at war with Russia, but we must not let it win, Macron insisted. So that's kind of how many countries in Europe, especially NATO members, not all of them agree with this stance, but there is a few that are coming out, like the Czech Republic as well, has come out and said that they have to protect Ukraine and not let Russia win. They don't necessarily say that they're at war with Russia, but they don't want Russia to win this war in Ukraine. So that's why I've been telling everybody on this channel, if you follow this channel, I've been saying this many, many times, that Ukraine cannot fall when it comes to the West, okay? The West needs to do whatever they can to protect Ukraine, which they've been doing that, but they don't want to let Ukraine fall. They want to hold on to that and keep that as a buffer zone. And Russia wants to take Ukraine, okay? They don't just want the eastern side of Ukraine, the Donetsk region, Donbass, all that stuff like that. They want the entire country of Ukraine. They want to take over Ukraine and, absorb it into Russia, basically, is what they want. So this is, two major sides here. Russia against basically half of the world fighting over Ukraine, and neither side wants to let it either fall or be taken. So this is obviously going to create some major tensions here. And as we can see, Poland is actively preparing for war. Just like I said, they withdrew from that CFE treaty to prevent the limitation of amount of troops that they can hold in their country and station them wherever they want to station them at. I believe this also allows Poland to increase their stock supplies as well, where they can hold more ammunition, more artillery shells, whatever it might be that they need to go to war. So these are all like little signs popping up a little bit at a time in different countries, okay? Even the Baltics right now, they've been actively preparing to go to war with Russia as well and setting up Dragon's Teeth in Estonia, I believe, or Latvia. And they've been doing this since the beginning of the war. So I do agree to an extent here. Let me know what you think down below. Share your thoughts and opinions with us. That's going to be it for this update, though. If anything else comes out, I will definitely update you guys. So share your thoughts and opinions down below. If you enjoy this content, please consider subscribing to the channel, hit the notification bell, and also don't forget to hit that like button on the video. So thank you so much for tuning in. Everybody take care and God bless. We'll see you in the next one.